Okay, the goal of this video is to walk you through the expectations of what your presentation needs to have and the format of which you will submit your presentation. So let's go through that. Let's go back to our directions. And let's walk through, again, the expectation. So inside of the directions, you have literally a step-by-step format of the number of slides that you are at minimum expected to have and what those slides should entail. Okay, so my first thing would be to maybe pause this video, read through each of these so that you have a breakdown of at least the understanding as I'm moving through this and we're talking through what this should look like. So again, maybe you want to pause and just read through this. So in total, we can see that we have at minimum 11 slides, right? So you might just want to simply open up your PowerPoint, right? I'm going to do that for us right now. Just put in this video time. I'm just going to open up one presentation. And the first thing I'm going to do to make sure that I am doing this correctly. So at minimum, I'm starting with I've got the correct amount of slides, right? Then maybe what you want to do is, again, at minimum, you might just want to put the main titles. You might just want to put the main heading, right? So we know that the very first thing I'm going to need to have is a title slide. What am I presenting you on in my name? Pretty straightforward, okay? Then from there, here's what you're going to do. Again, look at, and even look at some of the information I've tried to put in here. This is not what I'd like to repeat. This is not what you are copying and pasting and putting in there. These are your instructions. You don't make the cake and put the instructions in the cake. You put the required pieces of the instructions to create the cake, right? So I can't tell you how many students will just copy and paste these and put it in, and then they'll just answer the questions. That's not a presentation, right? That's just copying and pasting. That's not what the goal is here. So again, reading through and knowing that sort of expectation for the sort of first pass. Can you find an image that relates to your environmental concern? Maybe it's a map, maybe it's a location, maybe it's a picture of a specific species you're going to talk about, right? Make it relevant. That's the most important part here. You're not just Google searching random images. You have a very specific, detailed place that you're going to be speaking about. Everything from here on out, as far as this presentation, should only be specific to what you are presenting. I should not have generic pictures or generic cartoon drawings or stock images or stock icons. It should be specific to what you're talking about, right? Then what are you going to do? You're going to move into the introduction, just like you would in anything. What's the overview? What's the goal? What am I learning about here, right? Where am I at? You are here, kind of thing, right? So give me a brief introduction. In our previous video, we had mentioned, biodiversity and urban expansion. So you're going to introduce this topic. Why is this a concern? Why should anybody be worried about it? And again, very high level. You haven't told me anything about the specific area yet. You're just telling me this is the topic. This is the concern that I'm worried about, right? So even if I go back here, really what slide number 2 is you're introducing is sort of this. It's that high level bucket of what your concern is, right? Biodiversity loss due to urban sprawl. You're telling me about it. How does urban sprawl affect biodiversity? Why does it affect biodiversity? Again, coming back here, give me a brief introduction, explain why the issue is important, and you're keeping it simple and clear. Please do not copy and paste paragraphs and new paragraphs. That is not a good presentation. That at best is starting you at a C or a high D. If you give me PowerPoint slide presentation, I'm just copy and paste it. And you just read like this the whole entire time, verbatim, word for word. At best, low C. at best. Now, that's also that you still at least have all the other components. But if I open up your slide PowerPoint deck, and it is just by first pass, right? Because remember, you're giving me a video submission with you presenting it. You're also giving me just your PowerPoint slides. So I'm going to have your PowerPoint slides open on one screen, and I'm going to have your entire new presentation with PowerPoint slides open on another. I am quickly going to just scan through as a baseline to see what does this look like visually. If I'm looking at your PowerPoint before even getting to your presentation and all I see is just very stock images, lots of random words, an over smushing of things, there's no professionalism, I won't even push play on your video. Starting at you will see. If you can't take the time, put together something professionally visually, then the best I'm going to start you at is this. Now, again, that's with the understanding that everything else is going to be okay. You may say, sure, I'll take a seat, but that's also the understanding that everything else is there, that I can still see and hear you, that you still did submit a video presentation, right? So take the time, streamline this, make it engaging, practice it, right? Have somebody else look at it, because this is 3 points. If you do it right, it's going to set you up for a good solid grade. And some of you may need that. So, introduction. Give me a brief overview. Now you're going to add maybe a picture or maybe a map of kind of where I am. Where are you? Where are you referencing inside of Texas? Right? It's not just some random map. It's a map of potentially the location. Then you're going to move into the specifics. Now we're transitioning into, okay, biodiversity impact, urban sprawl with inside of Denton. Now you're hyper-focusing. Now you're bringing me down, you're bringing me into this presentation, and you're telling me location, region, and you're telling me why this is or what is the problem that's happening, right? That we are going to need to talk about. Biodiversity is happening at a very specific rate. This is happening in this particular region of Denton. Now I know. Okay, this is what this is going to focus in on for the rest of their talk. Slide 4. Why is this a concern? Now you're going to go into your research. Now you're going to tell me about it. Now maybe you've got some graphs, charts, stats, figures. This is where the research is really going to come in, and you're going to be telling me, well, why should I be concerned about this particular region? Why should I be concerned about this thing in that? And again, look at the simple bullet points here. Define, explain the basics with some stats and figures, use bullet points to make it easy. When you get a presentation before you that you are so immersed in watching the person, that is a great presentation. You're not even, you just are referencing the images on the slide or whatever they're telling you for about 2 to 3 seconds before you're back to that person. Because they are the main part of this. And you are. You should know what you're telling me so well, but I'm just using that as a reference. But you're using it as a guide, walking through this story of this environment. And again, whether that's good or bad. Then you're going to talk about the impact on the local environment. How does this physically affect, where is this affecting? And again, stats, figures. Is the loss of biodiversity affecting water quality? It's affecting air quality. What is the impact of this? Then the next slide, you're going to talk about what is the impact of this on humans, right? Environmental concerns that we talk about, they only exist because we interject ourselves into nature, right? Nature may be trying to reside alongside of us, or maybe trying to find its way, but really it's us having its impact on them. And so what is this disruption or change having an impact on us? What is it doing, right? So again, going back to our Denton example, biodiversity disruption may lead to an over-infestation of something like pests. That absolutely can affect us. They can bring diseases, they can bring an imbalance. They can be attacking our pets or animals. There's lots of ways you can spin that. 7, now you're going to tie this back to a specific location and chapter in the book. What chapter did we cover this? What is something you want to talk about from that chapter that relates back to this? How did this excite you because you learned about it in that chapter? The last two, what is being done currently and what is your proposed solution? What should people do? Again, minimize, streamline, concise, short. 1 to 2 to 3 bullet points at most. That should be 1, maybe 2 sentences. Not swaths of text that you're just copying and pasting. And I know that I'm saying this, and there's still going to be people that are going to do it, but I'm telling you now, best case scenario of just visually looking at that, I'm starting you at a low C. Then I'm going to watch your presentation, which could move you down into a D or an F, right? So this is 3 points. Let's get them. Conclusion and references. So that is it, right? That's everything that you are going to need to have as part of the presentation. So the last video I'm going to make is what are the modalities and how do I make my video research presentation? What do I need to say? Okay, stay tuned.